On the biggest party night at Tech, we would, me and my friends, we wouldn't go to the parties, but we would be kind of outside in the hallways of the parties and trying to evangelize and, get people
save lives
as they
go to the party.
As they're going to the party and try to.
So we're up into high school. You mentioned something about your junior year, things you're really starting to get involved in church and visiting other churches. Kind of touch on that.
So probably when I was around 12 or 13, I would say 12 or 13, I started actually listening to the sermons that were happening in church.
Okay.
And I started paying attention, but it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then at the very end, there would be an invitation to, come and get saved, come up to the altar.
Okay.
And so I knew that it was something I was supposed to do. I was like, well, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. I feel something about this says that I should be doing this. But I took that decision personally, and I didn't think that other people needed to know that I was making that decision, and I need to go up in front of a bunch of people to do it. And so I refused to go up in front of the people to do it. And I really wanted whatever was being offered. And so that's when, for me, I started to look in other books, and I started to, go through all the little children books and stuff that, you just have up in your shelf or whatever. I started going through all these things, trying to find this. I was like, well, what is he talking about? I just would try to find, usually if my family was gone or if I was, just happened to be in the room by myself, I just would start looking through these books. And then I started coming across information, but I still had this question, you know what I mean? So I ended up finding this one book that just said, well, you just need to believe in Jesus. I said, okay, I'll just go with that right now. So that's what I did, right? I just went off on that faith or whatever. But when I got in high school, I was 17, and I was part of this sorority kind of group in high school. And it wasn't a sorority, but it was like a Christian group in high school. And so some of the girls invited me to be a part of it. And once you actually get accepted as a member, they have this initiation kind of fun night or whatever. So basically, there's a sleepover, and then the next morning, everybody goes to church, to the host church or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So we went to another church, and I'd never been to another church without my family.
Wow. This was junior year of high school.
Yeah.
16, 17 years old.
Yeah, I never been, in terms of being there where I don't know anybody else.
Right.
And this happened to be one of the biggest churches in the city that was a Black-owned church and called The Mount.
It's a mega church?
Yes.
Or just, okay.
So even then it was very big. I mean, now it's a mega church. But then it was, still was in a big building. And I had never been to a service like that. Everything intrigued me about it. There were no, when you look at a church, you usually see the pulpit and you see the big chairs in the pulpit. There were no big chairs in the pulpit. The pastor was down there with us.
He was with the people?
He was with the people.
Okay.
The music was incredible, which is hugely, when you go to church, you want the music to be on point.
Every time.
Yeah, but the music was amazing. I actually recognized some people from other parts of the community.
Okay.
Like my pediatrician went there, some other person that, so that for me, everything changed a bit at that point. And this church was so big, they had two services. They had an 8 o'clock service and then a 10 o'clock service. And so at that time, I just kept going there. And I would go at 8 o'clock, and then I would go to my parents' church at 11.
Okay.
So I would do that a lot. And eventually, that was hard because I didn't really tell them that I was doing this, and I didn't tell them that I ended up joining the church as well. So once they found out about that, it was like, I disowned my family, and, I was disloyal to them and disloyal to the people. Why didn't I talk to our pastor first before deciding to join? It was like a lot of that, a lot of tension. And I was usually up and out of the house before they woke up. So there's a lot of things that I would miss out on. When you think about Sunday breakfast, my mom always makes Sunday breakfast.
That's why you was starving. She was sneaking to go praise the Lord somewhere else first. You was pre-gaming.
But it was crazy. It felt like that. But it was such a good feeling to be there at this other church, and just it really did. It helped me to understand things a lot better, because I was still kind of searching. I was still trying to figure this thing out.
So are you not allowed to be a member of two churches? We're all praising the same God, right?
Yes. It's usually considered what they call church hopping.
But it's two churches. I know what church hopping is, but that's still church hopping. Just two?
Yeah, it's like you should only have a membership at one.
Oh.
I don't know.
Looking back at that, don't that sound crazy?
It sounds interesting. It's like
interesting.
Why?
That's the right word. That's the right word.
And whatever church you go to, it's like you become this cheerleader for it.
Oh, okay.
You become a huge fan, and there's like, and it is weird. But they still, like, some churches come together and they have, like, I remember second services where the visiting church would come over. And yeah. So they would have that community amongst each other, but it was also like, oh, I go to such and such where the pastor is so and so. You know what I mean? And then, oh, I go to this one over here because this is, just like this pride you would say with it too.
Yeah.
Like what church you went to. So it is like a membership kind of mentality for sure. Like this allegiance to it. It's almost like different sororities.
Yeah.
I swear, that's what it's like.
It is.
I swear, that's what it's like.
You know, when you're a visitor at a church, you got to stand up and say where your church home is at. And
I mean, they got colors. They got,
y'all gangbanging. Oh, y'all had colors.
Yeah, I mean, there were certain churches that had prominent colors that, you would recognize and say, oh, well, they go to such and such or whatever. Different colors that you would see in the community, So.
Huh. I just think if your soul is being fed at more than one place, then why not?
See, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
36-year-olds makes sense. I guess at age 18 or 17, that was hard, but no. Yeah. I'm like, go ahead. You were still hitting both services.
Yeah.
You were going to the one that you preferred, and then you were hitting your family service with your family afterwards.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I knew that and that's when people at my church, they started, the church that I grew up in, like just questioning me a lot and, just weird interactions at that point.
Okay.
Also the leadership at that church too started to like question me in front of everybody else because it was just a lot of like just unnecessary interactions that I got after I decided to not go there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so that was difficult, but the thing that was the hardest was with my family. Because there was like this thing of like you're disloyal, you've kind of left the family in a sense because you decided to go to this other church.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no celebration of any sort around me saying, hey, I'm actually feeling excited about what I'm doing and where I'm going. But at the other church, I'm like part of the choir. I'm on the softball team. I'm like really involved and loving it. Like I love being there.
The fellowship.
Yeah, the fellowship was cool, and just to see people doing something different and being visibly, how would I say, generous.
Okay.
They were very generous to the community and stuff like too. So I never seen that, to that extent. I guess that's the mega, what a lot of churches do of different sizes because they have that capability.
Yeah.
But growing up, I didn't see any of that. So all this just really changed my mind about what church was and what it could be.
Okay. Sounds very exciting. I can imagine.
It was. I feel excited talking about it because I remember that, that excitement of seeing something new and knowing that the pastor didn't see himself as like, better than everybody. Yeah, up here and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, you can understand what he was saying from the pulpit. You can actually learn. I was writing notes. I just was really engaged in the whole thing.
Okay, nice. So now you've graduated. You've gone off to college. Let's talk about college life for you. And religion.
Right.
College is fun. It can be a lot of stories, but college and religion.
Let me tell you. So in college, there was one point where, and I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, but on the like biggest party night at Tech, me and my friends, like we wouldn't go to the parties, but we would be kind of outside in the hallways of the parties and like trying to evangelize and, get people
save lives
go to
the party
as they're going to the party and like try to, drum up conversations. So that's what my college experience kind of ended up being. When I was in high school, I decided, because I had the choice to go there or to UVA.
Okay.
And I ended up going to Virginia Tech because there was a college, like a college trip for seniors to go, and you go for like a weekend to kind of experience it. And so I went to Virginia Tech for their little experience, and they had because it was black kids too, so we got to see what the black people on campus did.
Right.
So of course we got to experience this choir. There was a choir that was there, and the choir was like phenomenal.
Okay.
And I remember asking myself, did anybody ask y'all to be like, where's your, like, I'm thinking in my mind, like, where are your parents? Who's organizing this? Y'all are coming together to do this.
Where's your pastor?
Yeah. It was like they were all willfully coming together and they all love God. And I was like, this is where I got to go.
Oh, okay.
Between this. So when I saw the choir and I got involved with, like, you know, just seeing that and meet some people there, I was like, this is where I got to go.
Right. Because when you were leaving the mega church to go to college, you were on fire. Like, your relationship with God had grew.
I was interested.
The mega church really fueled who you are at that point. So it was easy to go there.
Yes.
So it was kind of relatable. The big choir at the mega church, and now we have a choir here. It was like a perfect fit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was perfect. And then there was a friend who was also going to Virginia Tech that went to that mega church.
Okay.
And we knew each other from middle school. So then we ended up kind of being buddy when we got there, just to kind of understand the campus. And then he ended up being part of the choir too, which is crazy. So it was a good experience. So where am I going now?
You're talking about your college years. You fast forwarded to that party that you remember, how you were saving lives before they were drinking.
So then once I so
like, hold up. Hold your mule, really. Hold your mule.